Hello all, greetings. Welcome to Wings Coding. Today we are going to see about how to do a JavaScript programming and how to start with and how do we set up the JavaScript programming into our web development or a website and how can we execute those is our agenda in this video. So here, first we'll have to always whenever we are executing an JavaScript in the olden days, it needs a help of um, the browser for compiling the or parsing the JavaScript code. So first let us create one HTML file, and there are three different ways we can write any script in JavaScript. Test. First is inline script. So what is an inline script is we have an events for each and every tag of our HTML page. So we are going to attach on load event, meaning whenever a page is loading, we are going to attach an event to this. That's called as an onload. During an onload, I am just placing an alert box which says as welcome to JavaScript. Let us now see how is it if it is working fine. So we could see that actually when the page is loading, it is showcasing as a message called as an welcome to JavaScript. So the way we are writing our code in the HTML tag and within the as an attribute, we are binding it to an event. So this is called as an inline JavaScript. So which will be written in a single line on the as an attribute in a particular element itself. And the next way that we can write is you can write a script tag in the head. So whenever you are writing a script tag, it is always recommended to write a script tag inside the head section because our head element always gets prepared ahead for loading our body content. So it is always recommended to write our script, all our contents or the logics inside the head tag. So when we want to attach a JavaScript code, so what we have to do is we have to place the script tag inside the head. So here I'll go ahead and mention my uh, code as again I want to showcase an alert from this area itself, and here you can see I'm not attaching it as part of any events, whereas I'm just only writing an message called as an alert. And let us see how this is getting called, and let me remove this for a time being. Now when I go ahead and refresh my page, you can see that welcome to JavaScript. And to make a difference, probably I'll just put it into welcome to JavaScript internal sheets. So you can see there is an welcome to JavaScript internal sheets. So here, how does this execute is, as we said, when we go to an inspect element, like inspect element can be, we can go to an inspect element with the help of Control Shift I or with right click and say inspect element. And when I am going to the networks tab and when I am loading this, you can see that during the load, during the head section of my page, what happens is there is a JavaScript code written. So first it will execute this much before we load the body. So if we want to test if it is loading much before the body, let me place an heading called as JavaScript programming. And here I'll go ahead and refresh this, and you can see that your JavaScript programming heading has come little later. Only then, I mean, but your messages came much before the JavaScript programming. So this is the way when I'm going to refresh it once again, let's observe it. You can see that the heading has not yet come, but we could see our messages coming up. So this is an order of loading our website web page. So first, initially, if we write any HTML web pages, it is going to load our head tags first completely. And that's the reason our alert tag got held. And then only we are going to see our body sections loading. But now I don't want this JavaScript messages to be loading. I mean the welcome messages to be coming up as soon as my much before my page is loading. Instead, I want to have a button on click of it. I want to call this particular event. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and write a button and I'll call this as a greet user. And we can bind and click event to this. On click is equal to, we can take this and paste it here, or we can write, there is something called as a function handle click, and we will come to the functions a little later, but we can just remember as the way of writing a function is a function keyword and then a name of a function, open close parenthesis and open close for flower brackets, and inside this flower brackets we can write whatever the logics we want. So now when I had to call this function, so I go into the on click event and I directly call it as handle click. So let me go ahead and refresh my page and let me check this. When I click on this, you can see that the welcome to JavaScript internal sheets are getting called because the function will not execute during the load. It will only be ready for it to be executed when an event or an action is being triggered. So this is basically like with the help of an internal style sheets, we can achieve a reusability of a code. But whereas with the help of an inline sheets, it's not possible for us to um, achieve an reusability of a code. And there is also another way that we can write an JavaScript coding is we can separate the JavaScript code from the HTML file. So how do we do that is we create an JS file which is relevant to the HTML. And mostly whenever we are creating a JS file, it should be with the same name as HTML. So that way we will be able to link saying that, okay, this index.js goes along with the index.html, and also it helps all the functionality of index.html inside the index.js. So here what I'll do is I'll write the same function from whatever I have written in this area. I'll take the same thing and I will put it here. But what I want to happen is I don't want in none of my behavior of my HTML to be changed. It should still act the same way, but it should be referencing all the things from my index.js. So how do we do that is there is something called as an, again, we have to mention as a script, but along with the script tag, we have to mention an attribute that's called as a source. So when we mention a source, what we have to do is we have to give the file path where our logics are residing. So here all my logics are residing inside a index.js. So I gave index.js. Now let me refresh my page and check the greet user. It still works the same without any modification compared to the previous version of writing and the current version of writing. So the execution is no change. Here, there is also another way for executing our index.js in the modern world. In the legacy world, we would be always depending on our JavaScript, the browser to execute or I mean parse the JavaScript codes. But in the modern days, what we do is that we don't have to rely on the browser for executing our JavaScript code. There is also another way that we can do. Let us open a terminal. When we open a terminal, you could see it is going to show a path. And for this way of execution, we need the Node.js to be installed into our system. The Node.js current version, latest version, anything you can install, but the latest version will have an little bit of an bugs. So it's always recommended to go with the -1 version. So here it is now focusing on, it is wherever the folder we are, it is now pointing to this area. So when I am into this folder, we know that there is an index.js also present inside this folder. So now what I'll do is I'll execute a command called as node index.js. So when I do this, what will happen? My JavaScript program will be compiled and it will also showcase an output. But there is one problem. Here the alert will be working only for the window where we are seeing the body area, and it will be showcased only in the browser. But whereas when we are executing in the console, it will not work. And also, as this is a function, we have not made a call to the function anywhere. We have just declared it. So when we want this function to be executed, we have to make a call to a function. The calling of a function is called as, like, only with the name of a function we are going to call it, and open close parenthesis will be there. So now when I am executing this, you can see that alert is not defined. So as I said, alert is not identified inside the terminal or a command prompt. It can be identified only by the browser. So to avoid that, what we will do is this particular area is actually considered as in console by our debugger. So what we do is that we write it as console.log. Now, after we do this, after we make a change, I have saved the file and let me execute. And you can see it is going to showcase a message called as welcome to JavaScript internal sheet. So these are all the few different ways how we can execute our JavaScript file for the further practicing in the coming sessions. So we'll discuss a lot about JavaScript in the coming playlist. Stay tuned and please subscribe and click on a bell icon and like, share, and comment if you like my tutorial. Thank you. Happy learning.